Good morning, Superkickin It with Steven fans. Your favorite host right here, Steven. Greg just saw my message, so he should be coming on here any minute now. We got a lot of news to cover today. So we have news, obviously, concerning Jon Moxley. We have news concerning the latest batch of edits or all WWE releases. And also we have Survivor Series talk, which WWE finally just announced the men's and women's Survivor Series teams for the event, which I believe has happened the 21st. And, we've seen nothing really at all for it. So it doesn't surprise us at all that they just announced the, teams on Twitter. So let's get Greg all set up and then we'll bring him on here to digest or unpack all of this news. And I guess we'll talk some actual in-ring action as well, because we had that as well. So let's bring Greg on. He's getting all set up there. Hey, Greg, what's going on?
I'm good, Stephen. Hey, what's up, my man?
Not too much. So I guess we'll get good news out of the way so I can finally share the latest addition to the body work right there. Oh,
Look at this.
so it's kind of hard. Here we go. So the Stone Cold Stunner, tattoos. So I finally am. I guess a week where WWE, gets rid of more people, I'm still loving them, of Stone Cold. But and I want to share one other. So that was an early gift to myself that I gave, and then want to give one more shout out because this gift is awesome as well. So let me make sure I have it. This is the official Stone Cold Smoking Championship belt.
Nice.
It came to this nice case. There you go. You can kind of see the nice Stone Cold Smoking Skull belt. And probably the best part, which will never be seen, but like a snake print, snake skin print on the back. So really cool stuff there. So nice little birthday gift from the family, from my mom and dad on that end. So
very nice.
Wanted to get the good stuff out of the way, Greg, because unfortunately there's a couple not so good stuff to talk about. But what would episode be if we weren't talking up releases? So first, we do want to say best wishes to Jon Moxley going into rehab. We never know what people are going through. I just always remember they always do that Road to the Top promo, Greg, where Brandy Rhodes is asking Jon Moxley, how you doing? And he's like, I'm drunk or I'm hungover. And I always thought that was, we kind of laughed it off, but now it's like, now it doesn't seem as, laughable, unfortunately. So, and also Renee Young tweeted out or Instagrammed out or whatever. She's moving to Cincinnati. So I think it sounds like they want to be closer to maybe his family or something like that. So they were making the trip. As far as I know, she was making the trip with, baby Nora and her. I think she said her mom or her dad maybe in a big old nice RV. So they had the top of the line road trip to go on. But she just made it to Cincinnati. I don't know if he's already there, Greg. I didn't personally see any news about where, his rehab is happening. But I would assume after the fact, maybe they just want to be closer to his family, just to kind of, make that happen and maybe get out of Vegas because that's where they are living, maybe just that aura of Vegas is something as well. So, Cincinnati, Ohio, Greg, compared to Las Vegas, Nevada is two different worlds. So maybe that is a reason why. But best wishes to Jon Moxley. I did get his book and I was hoping to go to the book signing that he was going to do this Wednesday here in Indianapolis, but that is not going to happen, obviously. So best wishes to him. Anything you want to add to that, Greg, or then we'll get to releases.
I was shocked and saddened to hear the news about Mox and him going into rehab, especially since I just listened to a brand new episode of Talking Jericho where he did a return appearance, to talk shop and talk up the book. And like I said, you never know what's going on with these guys, but you see what the life they lead on the road, 250, 300 days a year, and the beating they take and how much pain they're always in. And then, there's so much more on the plate when you have, a newborn to take care of at home and not getting any sleep and probably painkillers, things like that. So many things that we don't see and we take for granted. We just turn on the TV on Wednesdays and expect them to be there. And, these, at the end of the day, these guys are still real people just like you and I. And, props to him for recognizing that there was a problem, for recognizing he needs to step away. Dude's red hot right now. I'd love to change the character he's been undergoing, but you can see that some of that unhinged was seeping into his work. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I think that real life was bleeding into his professional life, and props to him for recognizing it and realizing that he has a problem and taking the steps to fix it. So, like we said, the first step is admitting that you need help. And that's for anybody. You don't have to be a professional wrestler, professional athlete, professional anything. The most important thing is recognizing you need the help and then making the steps to go out and get it. So, best wish to you, Mox, and hope to see you back soon. So,
And I think it opened up the door for a lot of people tweeting out saying, well, if he can go into, rehab, I could do it myself. Like you said, people like me and you, not us necessarily, but, like just people that feel they're going through something, like you said, I think mental health is the strong, the thing that we always talk about, never gets talked about enough. I mean, I think we're still in that weird, it's starting to come a little more to the forefront, but it's still in that you just don't want to talk about it because you don't know how to talk about it because everyone, mental health is just a hard, and there's no way to describe it because everyone is so different. We could say, oh, I experienced that, but you might not experience it to that aspect. But, and like you said, that match with, what was it? With 10 or 5, I forget, whichever Dark Order guy, like we said, it just seemed a little, reckless. And I don't know if that was how it's supposed to come across, but yeah. And, like I said, props to Renee for making the cross country trip, moving across the country and going to Ohio. So hopefully they'll make a good living there. And that's just a hop skipping away from me. So, I can go, maybe I can stop at the Moxley household one day and say, hey, no. But anyway, that might be the scary thing too. Cincinnati, Ohio is probably not the biggest. Well, it's a little bit bigger than Indianapolis or, on the same level, Greg, but you wonder like how recognizable they'll be there, So in Vegas, everyone's big. It seems like. So, in Vegas, they could probably walk around and nobody would say a word, but you almost wonder here, you go shopping in a mall or something, Greg, and you do wonder if maybe you'll get a little, not hounded, but hopefully people will keep their distance. But and the other big news is this latest Bachelor's releases. So I got the list right here, Greg. We'll say the names first, and then we'll start reacting because I'm sure we got plenty of reactions. So the list as I see it now was Keith Lee, Nia Jax, Karrion Kross, Ember Moon, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Eva Marie, Grand Metalik, Mia Yim, Lindsay Dorado, Scarlett Bordeaux, Oni Lorcan, Frankie Monet, Jet Rama, B-Fab, Trey Baxter, and Zaina Raymer, sorry, whichever way you say it. Now, obviously, Greg, some of those names you could say, okay, like the Lucha House Party guys, the writing was on the wall. I think one of them asked for the release. So, Oni Lorcan, Jet Rama, I don't remember Jet being on there, but he did write a nice thank you saying, picking up his life and coming here, and people were chanting for him a couple times. Trey Baxter just kind of showed up. I'll kind of go in the, these surprise, like B-Fab though is a surprising name, but like you said, was her in-ring work. Were they ready? It's almost like they just said, forget it. Like it kind of, and it really does suck for her because she had a good thing going with that group. I thought she fit in with the group. Maybe she could have been a voice for them or, hype woman or something like that. Like, even if she didn't do the ring work. But so that was surprising. Frankie Monet, I know you love that girl, Greg.
Yeah.
So I'll let you have Frankie. What'd you think there when you saw her name pop up?
Not happy. I mean, they have so much gold in their hands right there with her. If you've seen all of her other work, that how can you not use someone with her look, her uniqueness, um, her skills in the ring and on the mic, and not use that? I mean, I'm very not happy with it. But if they're not going to do anything with her, um, there's going to be plenty of places that pick up the phone and give her a call. So I'm disappointed that she doesn't get WWE production and WWE push so she can be the star that she really is. But um, if this is the way they're going to treat her, she's better off not the company anyway.
And if they thought so, the age factor came up. She's 38, which of course doesn't sound old at all. But if you're pushing NXT and a younger crowd, then why not just push her to the main roster and let her try to do
Right.
something there? So that's why that was surprising, Then if you get her to the main roster and things aren't, if you think she does, then and what do you think, Greg? So can we read anything for John Morrison? I mean, I don't know what the hell this whole shaman god. I guess he's trying to go back to his old, the old gimmick. But do you think the writing's on the wall for him? Like, how much longer do you think we see John Morrison in? Like, if his contract comes up, is it going to be surprising at all that he doesn't renew?
No, not at all. And I agree. Maybe he's trying to go back to the Shaman of Sexy bit. And we talked before about him and Seth Rollins on the show together. They both can't be doing the drip gimmick. So
Yeah.
Seth
So it's
being a
good to
higher
give him something
stature.
different.
Yeah. So I'm sure that's what that's about. But, now that they let his wife go, and yeah, I don't think he's going to be far behind her. Um, So next round of cuts, his name is probably going to be on it. He's not doing anything very important, or he's not doing anything in the ring at all. Just a couple 2-minute backstage segments, and he's another talent that's not getting any airtime. So I think he's going to be gone. Hopefully, with his contract situation, it's going to be lapsing, which is why they've kind of relegated.
Like laid back him. Yeah.
Yeah, to backstage, and you're not going to see him much after now.
Well, that's why I was wondering. Like, I'm trying to think. It feels like it's been at least a couple of years since he's been back. So you would think it's coming up soon, unless he resigned and got another year. Our good friend Damon. Yes, I know I made a mistake and went to the wrong tattoo shop because I just got it done. I have more stuff I want to get done. I will get Revved Up Tattoos. If you want all your needs here in Indianapolis, Revved Up Tattoos. I will go there for my next tattoo.
Somebody's in trouble.
I will get Revved Up Tattoo underneath this current tattoo. Anyway, so yes, Damon is going to call me out on that until the end of time, I'm sure. So, who else we got? So, let's do the couples, Greg. So we have. Oh, I'm grounded. Oh no. Let's do the couples. So we have Mia Yim and Keith Lee. I mean, it's so funny to think for Keith Lee a year ago they did that little chronicle, half hour, and Vince McMahon was talking him up and give him the coach talk, and Keith Lee came backstage is like, I'm ready to run through the wall for that guy. And now it comes out, there was perceived attitude issues, which whatever. They said the same thing about Bray Wyatt. So I'm not reading anything. And like we say, who couldn't blame him for being a little pissed off because you're told one thing and then you're doing another thing, and no explanation for Bearcat, and he was in a horrible place health wise and comes back from that and, just doesn't give anything. So, and Mia Yim obviously never got the chance. She did the Reckoning gimmick with Retribution and wrestled what, 2 times, maybe 3, like, just had to hang out with a mask on and never show her face. So, yeah, like we said, I think Keith Lee will be fine. I mean, AEW, Greg, they don't have enough hosses, like a guy like Keith Lee. Yes, you have Lance Archer. You got, Miro now. But, I mean, they're probably, Tony Khan better just get out that checkbook and back up the Brinks truck to Keith Lee and, Mia Yim probably could be good for the women's division. So, how about Keith Lee and Mia Yim there for you, Greg?
Yeah, I don't get what WWE is thinking, especially with the shallowness of the women's division on Raw and SmackDown. That you mean to tell me you can't use a girl the size and talent of Frankie in that mix? Another fresh matchup. You can't use somebody with the talent of Mia Yim in the mix, standing next to Sasha or Becky or any of the talents. We've seen NXT what Mia can do when she gets a chance, and they put a mask on her and put her in the shadows, and now she's cut. So the women's division is in trouble beyond the top 4. Charlotte, Bianca, Becky, Sasha, and after that you have pretty close to nothing. I mean, they're trying to build up a couple girls, but you have 2 that you could have used and used very well, and they let them out the door. Keith Lee, I agree to your point with AEW. Definitely needed more hosses, some big dudes who can go do more than just brawl and choke slam. And Keith Lee definitely fits that mold. He went in with the heavyweight, super heavyweight division, of which there are few, and help building it up. So I can definitely see that. Mia Yim, you figure she'd have to get a slot with him. They'd probably a package deal by now. But, there's places to fit her into the women's mix. So I'd love to see it in AEW and, being able to really get, the shine that they deserve, because they have really been mistreated. I liked what they started doing with TV, aside from the whole roaring like a grizzly bear every time he did an offensive maneuver, but they were kind of on the right track with him. It started to make him look good, and now he's gone. So yeah, I don't know what they're thinking with these cuts, but their loss is AEW's and the rest of pro wrestling's gain. So good luck to them.
And I could see Keith Lee doing another independent run before he decides, like, okay, where do I want to go full time? So, because that's kind of where you got to start. And I do think he's probably the most surprising. But I think at the same time, this Nia Jax story that's coming out, this is pretty surprising to think that she got cut when she mentioned, she's personally stated this, that she took a little mental health break, which, like we brought up, is so important. And she asked for more time and then ends up cut. And that's, if now it's just her word, but, we got to take her word because it's her word. So if that's really the truth, you got to think, man, that, we may not like, some people may not care for Nia Jax in the ring, but outside the ring, if that was the truth, that is not a good look at all. I mean, that's pretty, telling evidence of what you think, mental health wise for people. So, and that can, that cannot look good at all. So I thought Nia Jax, Greg, was a surprising name as well, because, I mean, look how long she's been there too. And she's always been featured. I mean, we've hardly seen her, in any sort of lower card role, maybe at the beginning when she just rolled through women and was doing handicap matches. But once she, she beat Alexa Bliss for the title, WrestleMania was at 34 when they kind of did the whole body shaming image, gimmick where Alexa was more trying to body shame Nia, and Nia was trying to stand up for herself. And then her and Shayna, obviously 2-time tag team champions, and then then she had to get taken out by Shayna. But yeah, I thought Nia Jax was a surprising name. What about you, Greg?
Yeah, surprising, or in a way I am, in a way I'm not, because there was a time when she was the dominant heel. She was the best as a heel, and she come up and she destroy girls, and she had that aura of who can beat this woman, and then her push stopped, and girls the size of Alexa Bliss started getting the better of her, and she's gradually been defined down lower and lower and lower. You can consider it kind of a conciliatory thing they were doing by giving her the tag title with Shayna, but doing the whole odd couple gimmick that they beat to death over the last year, over a year, and then the whole little love thing with Reggie, and defining her down to like a comic character. Um, the ball was rolling downhill for her, and so I could see it, and then being written off TV altogether. Maybe it was because of the whole need to take a break um, request that she made. I've seen different things about it. Her as it pertains to her needing a mental health break, but also um, them releasing or them being WWE releasing wrestlers who would not get vaccinated. I saw that may be an reason that she was let go, or maybe not the reason contributing to why she was let go. That she followed in that list of being unvaccinated, and so it's kind of like a who do you believe kind of situation. So I'm not surprised that Nia was let go because she started at the top and she's been rolling down the mountain and not in a good way for quite a while. So
That's true. Yeah. Davey Boy Smith Jr., who never even once appeared, Harry Smith or whatever. Ember Moon, I know you weren't high on her, Greg. I think she'll go back to the independent scene and be fine there. And what do we? So then finally, we kind of, Eva Marie. I mean, you just bring her back, what, 7 months ago? 6, 8? It feels like so recent. And now she's gone already. I'm hearing that was about, her wanting to go back, her kind of leaving in the first place to go over movies, and she really never took off in it. And now she'll have plenty of time to focus on that. And then finally, Greg, let's just get to it. Karrion Kross, Scarlett, which, you brought up the package deal. I think they're going to be a package deal. You wonder if they'll go back to Impact. That's kind of where they were anyway. And I know Scarlett is excited to wrestle again. So, that's probably the best spot for them right now. Maybe going back to Impact, and he could be Killer Kross. He's already put out a little 30-second, graveyard scene of videos. So, and I'm sure she'll put out something soon about what she's going to do next. So that, and we already know the whole gimmick of, like they always say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And unfortunately, he came to main roster. They tried to change it up and, never gave him back that aura. And it was, once he lost, and it's so bad because, I tried to buy into the let it play out story, and I was wrong, not afraid to admit it. And it just does kind of suck that, he took that first off to Jeff Hardy, and then it never, then he does end up beating Jeff Hardy, and then, kind of rolls through other people, but just never got the aura back. And, and I mean, without the presence of Scarlett, I think it lost some of them as well, and who knows, maybe they just couldn't recreate it in the bigger scale for Raw, which is kind of hard to believe because they can if they really, but for whatever reason, they decide not to. So What do you think, Greg? Karrion Kross and Scarlett, is that your top of the list surprises, or is there another name? Was there somebody else above them?
Yeah, that is the big surprise. But at the same time, they killed his push before he even got to the main roster. He was doing great in NXT. Um, and the first time wasn't his fault. He got injured when he won the championship. Went off TV, came back, won it again. And before the big showdown with Joe, he started taking L's on the main roster. And he wasn't even on the main roster yet. So, after he'd been on the main roster for a month or so, doing 50-50 booking with Jeff Hardy, then he started getting vignettes and getting his real introduction and coming out in the gladiator outfit, and the whole presentation was completely changed up. And they started him out backwards. I mean, he should have done everything in reverse as far as keeping him the monster heel through the Samoa Joe match, and then bringing him in, or maybe waiting, doing the vignettes, building up the anticipation, and then bringing him out, with Scarlett. What was the point in not bringing him out with Scarlett? So they killed him before he even got to the main roster, which is really disappointing. I do have a theory, and shout out to our man Dan, the man in charge, who gave me a pretty much open doors. Like, I told him I had a background in writing, and he's like, anytime you want to write for us, feel free. And he gave me a great idea for an article, and that kind of zoomed out view of these releases and everything WWE has been doing lately, is that Vince McMahon could in fact be saving pro wrestling. And by what I mean by that is, with all these releases, all of these guys are not going to go to AEW. And looking at this list, I would bet that not considering the couples, that 2, maybe 3 of the names on this list end up in AEW.
Yeah.
So what that means is that the rest of the talents on here, 10, 12, 14 people, are going to end up spread out among the other promotions.
Like independent scene.
Right. And it's going to help build them up. Look at ROH. They just folded. And maybe not folded permanently, but folded, and they're going to rethink things, go back to formula, and most likely come back as something reimagined down the road.
And you wonder what kind of wrestlers they'll look for now if they want to get away from whatever, maybe the wrestling, maybe they try to do, maybe the Impact Light or something like that. But that's a really interesting take, because like we brought up too, Greg, I don't know if it was WWE that kind of killed the independent scene. I mean, it almost feels like AEW kind of did in a roundabout way, because, who are all in the dark matches, the elevation matches, you have a lot of those independent names on there for AEW, because I think guys want to get on there and get on, YouTube at least, more so than wrestling in a bingo hall. The bingo hall is the overused term, but, like a local, gym. And now if you could get a 5-10 minute match on YouTube that you can use, I mean, why would you not want to pass it up? So it is weird that, everybody says Vince killed the competition, but he might have done that to WCW, but I don't know if he did it to the independent. I think that's more, and, like I said, I'm not going to fault AEW, because if the wrestlers want to go there, they want to go there. And if they want to scoop them up, they scoop them up. But like you said, the ROH thing is interesting. Like, what do they, because they said they're releasing everybody, but they want to relook at things. So it's like, you almost feel like, yes, they'll go a different direction and not, use former people, but who knows? So,
right. But that's the thing, is that they're flooding the market with very talented, ready for TV
Yes.
wrestlers.
People.
Some of them may still be green, but they've been in the NFL and now they're kind of going back down into the college ranks. Kind of is a way you look at it from a different sport. And you're adding star power where there wasn't star power. So it could be reminiscent of GCW and Matt Cardona coming in and going, oh, look at this.
Because that's getting built
Zack
up a
Ryder's
lot.
here.
Like, I mean,
Right.
people
And
are
now,
talking that up. Things. Go ahead.
yeah, and they're a big deal now. They're on the come up, and now you're going to have more talent to bring in there. And same thing, these guys are going to spread out among the other organizations. They're going to get more powerful. They're going to start drawing numbers. They're going to take eyeballs off of WWE and AEW. But what AEW's done is, it's a return to pro wrestling. It's you can see a huge difference watching Raw and SmackDown versus watching Rampage and Dynamite. You can tell the difference. And it's going to be the same when you turn on an ROH show in the future, when you turn on GCW now, and all these guys and girls that have been getting released over this past year, they're going to add name value to all these brands, and they're going to get that exposure is going to help. TNA is going to get a big boost because some of these names are going to pop up there. AEW, of course, but then what's MLW going to get? What's GCW going to get? And you're just going to get more star power. Another bonus here is that most of these haven't been stained by the WWE ex-WWE wrestler brand. Yes, this is the last place they park their car, but you don't look at Frankie Monet as a WWE wrestler. She made her name in Mexico. She made her name in Impact. She made her name all around the world, everywhere but in WWE. Same thing for BFAB. She had 2 matches, which really we don't really think of her as a WWE wrestler anyway. We'll see her face, and it's like that's the last place we saw her. But she's not a WWE wrestler. Jessica Cabella, we've almost forgotten what Mia Yim looks like these days. So a lot of these aren't going to be seen as WWE cast-offs because they're not,
that's true.
Homegrown WWE wrestlers. They were brought in, they were there for a cup of coffee, and now they're gone. So they haven't had the stain of being WWE rejects, and they can
That's true.
change up their gimmick, change their look, and come out brand new somewhere else.
Yep. Then the other bit of news. So apparently, Greg's Survivor Series is happening. In case you didn't know,
it is.
We
Wow.
joked.
When?
Yeah, how about that? WWE didn't know either because they did the least way. Well, they did. I feel like they did the most WWE way that they could which is announce the Survivor Series teams for the men and women's elimination matches yesterday on Twitter, which it is. That's where everybody gets their news. So in a way, it's fine to do it that way, but I also understand. I miss the old days when they'd be like, okay, here's the captain, and the captain might announce their teams and all that. So we got the men's side, Greg, of Raw. It is, I'm guessing, Captain Seth Rollins because he's the first name announced. And then we have Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, and the Mysterios. Dominic and Ray, which, that is team. Now, I mean, you got Seth, Kevin Owens, and Finn, though. That's a pretty strong threesome. So, and then on the Raw or on the SmackDown side, we have Captain Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, King Xavier Woods, Sami Zayn, and Happy freaking Corbin.
Wow.
So, Greg, these teams are, these are the guys that have been featured. So it's like you're not throwing now. Because when we get to women's side, there's definitely a name. I'm like, really? She's in the women's side of things, and we'll get to her. But I feel like Sami Zayn's going to get screwed He'll probably be the first one out because, that's his gimmick. But, yeah, it's probably going to come down to Seth and Drew. I mean, is there any other doubt that, that's going to kind of be the, maybe Finn and Drew, just so we could kind of see what that's like. But it does feel like the captains will be the ones, like they say, going down with the ship, Greg. Is that how you're kind of perceiving this? We don't have to make prediction, but just early take on it.
Early take is this sucks. Holy crap. I mean,
but is there names is there names you would put in instead, though? I mean, I can't, like on the Raw side, I almost feel like I need to look at the Raw roster anymore to like figure out, or the SmackDown. I mean, I don't know. Like, is there names, Greg, you think you'd put in there instead?
I'm with you. I see the roster again, but I'm amazed that they couldn't find something better than this. This 5. This is the 5 you're going to choose to represent your brand. I mean, come on, man. I mean, yes to KO, yes to Finn, yes to.
I mean,
Seth.
AJ.
Definitely.
AJ Styles is a name, but is
AJ.
he? I'm not trying.
Edge.
Like his Edge.
Edge isn't doing anything.
Yeah. And I mean, in a way, like I thought about, if you think about Austin Theory, like if they've been giving him a little shine, why not throw him in there? Especially since he's just beat the Mysterios. Yeah. I mean, Lashley, I guess Lashley is a name that is surprising that he's not on there. So I guess there are names that you could, now that I'm really looking at the roster,
Omos.
You could have thrown Omos, yeah.
Why wouldn't you put him on the team? The biggest guy on the brand. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And unless they have a title match at the Survivor Series, and
are they do the tag team? Maybe they do a tag team one, and it's AJ and Omos in that, and like the Hurt Business, or something like that. But yeah. What about the SmackDown side? I've never been a fan of Baron Corbin. And I'm going to bring up the SmackDown side to see if there's, anybody else probably would be better than Baron, but that's a whole nother. Cesaro, I would love to see Cesaro in there, but, we know where Cesaro's at now. Trying to think.
So who is it? Sammy, Corbin.
So we have Drew, Jeff Hardy, King Xavier, Sami Zayn, and Baron Corbin.
Good grief. If you take 2 of them out and put Hit Row in there.
Yeah.
Put Swerve in, put Top Dollar in.
Yeah. I'd be fine with that. I was trying to, I was looking to, what about, I was going to say maybe Ridge Holland. If you're throwing Aaliyah on the other side of things, why not give Ridge Holland a little shine? Even if he's out early on, maybe he eliminates one person or, just looks strong. That was a name I'm kind of wondering. Ali, that's a name I'm on the, kind of. Ali could have been somebody too to kind of see how you kind of handle that. Yeah, but anybody, I'd put Madcap instead of Baron Corbin and then kind of give Madcap some run, with guys like Seth and Finn and Kevin Owens. That's, we've kind of seen the Kevin Owens thing with them anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be.
Why not put Nakamura in there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, unless we're probably doing Damian Priest versus Nakamura if we're doing title matches.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because, that's what I would, assume. But we have, like we said, I believe it's and what's really funny, Greg, is when I go to shows on the WWE page, once it actually clicks, Crown Jewel is still on the top. So we don't even have a Survivor Series. Because it literally is, as you scroll, it's just Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK, 205 Live, and then Miz and Mrs., Total Bellas, the New Day podcast, and After the Bell. There's not even Survivor Series even really out there yet. So yeah, we gotta finally get on this. But so the women's side of things is it'll be Bianca Belair, obviously the captain, Rhea Ripley, Raw Women's the tag team championship for women's side. Liv Morgan,
Okay.
Carmella, and Selena. Not any complaints with that team, Greg. I don't think. Do you have any? I mean, Rhea Ripley, I was kind of surprised because if you're good, well, I guess you really don't do tag teams for Raw and Smack, for women. So, but do you throw Nikki Cross in there instead of her, or Dana Brooke maybe just to give Dana Brooke some run? But I think the Raw team is that it's pretty stacked, and it's probably the women that we've been seeing.
True, but is Nikki Ash pretty much dead already? I mean, why isn't she in the match? You take Zelina out of there and put Nikki in there. That way you have the tag team champions in the match.
I would have been really mad if they would have just put Nikki and Rhea, and then Liv doesn't get in there because Liv, you could tell she just wants this so bad, and you should put her in there. And then we look at the SmackDown women's side. So it's Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, and then it's Natalya and Aaliyah. So Aaliyah's first match probably will be the Survivor Series match, like on the main roster. That's the name, Greg. I'm like, but then again, I guess I need to look at the roster, like who am I, it's always like the All-Star game, when people are like, well, so-and-so got snubbed, but then they never tell you, Greg, who would they take out, to go in that place. So, but Aaliyah was really the surprising name. I think I'd rather have seen, well, I guess we got Tegan on the other side, so she's not in there. But, I was really surprised you put, but then again, I'm looking at the women's. I guess you could have dated Naomi, and maybe Naomi gets screwed. Toni Storm, Xia Li. Maybe you could have had Xia Li's first match in there. Yeah. But, so the women right now on this SmackDown side, Greg, is like, it's very thin because you got Charlotte, champion. And then I look and I see Naomi, Natalya, Shayna Baszler, Sasha Banks, Shotzi, and Toni Storm, and Xia Li. There's not many names. It doesn't feel like many names there, but I probably would have put Xia Li and really let her get exposed to the main roster. I mean, they keep saying she's coming soon, so you would think in the next couple of weeks, probably after Survivor Series, she should be on TV. Toni Storm has been on the main roster since July, and 2 matches, I think it is. So, the Survivor Series, man, it's dead in the water, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is our point behind why did you let Frankie and Mia go? Because they would be great fresh faces in this match. And, they're really losing touch with, what's working, what people want to see, getting new matchups and not the same thing over for the 50th time. And you're diluting your talent pool. There's nothing about either of these matches on men's or women's side that makes me want to watch it.
And especially since, like we keep saying, give us some stakes, give us a future draft pick, cash consideration, something. I mean, the one year they did a trophy, I think it was, but there's no, yes, we'll have the champions. And I've always fought for, if NXT is the third brand of WWE, why not put, we did put them in. The one year they dominated. I mean, they rolled, I think they lost one, and that was like the pre-show match or something like that. And, why not put NXT? I mean, you got a team of Ciampa, Braun Breaker, Kyle O'Reilly, Johnny Gargano, and Dexter or something like that. I mean, they could hold their own against that Raw or SmackDown team. Then Absolutely. On the women's side, if you had Rhea or Raquel, Mandy Rose now as the current champion, Dakota Kai, and then whatever, trying to think, Io Shirai, and then throw whoever. So I mean, you got plenty of talent, and then or why not put Ciampa, Roman, and Big E in a three-way match and let Ciampa have some run with Roman and Big E, and put the North American champion who is it? Carmelo Hayes. I had to really think about that one, didn't I, Greg? I apologize. But anyways, so that's kind of telling. But anyways, so yeah, I'm always surprised that, I mean, I really love that year that they did NXT because you had the NXT guys invading and girls invading. Then, I think we had, didn't we have AJ go down to, to NXT with the Good Brothers for like a short run, kind of, hype that up. So, I thought, they even wrestled maybe once or something, but yeah, I still argue that NXT should be on here with them. So, but that's our Survivor Series matches so far. Like we said, I imagine we'll get champion versus champion. It doesn't look like we're going to get Becky and Charlotte, like we said, for the 50th time. But Roman and Big E, though, that's, especially now that Roman's been beat down to New Day, hopefully that can lead to another Bloodline New Day match somewhere down the, maybe the Royal Rumble or, something. We got to figure out some way to get Kofi, because, like we keep saying, Kofi and Xavier are getting beat down. It's 3-on-2. Like, who's going to come to the defense? Because we don't know. So, yeah. So, anything else, Greg, news-wise that we missed? Because that was our 45 minutes of news talk, because there was a lot of news to catch up on. Is there anything I missed from that side of things?
Yeah, we missed 1 week and the world goes crazy. What's up with that? Yeah,
I guess we need to talk every week so people don't lose their jobs.
Right. I think we got the big stuff out. So yeah.
Okay, good. We'll get into some Raw and SmackDown talk. We might just do some truncated version, Greg, just to kind of, maybe get out of here. I don't have any football to watch. Real quick, who your Chargers got today, Greg?
Eagles. Is
that a 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock game?
4 o'clock. With a feature app on CBS. So if you got Paramount Plus, you get to watch that game.
Yeah.
But so that's how I watch them.
And my Colts took care of business Thursday night. Their first
45 points.
Primetime home game in about 4 or 5 years, Greg, for the Colts. That's a little bit of a stretch, isn't it? Like, they've had, we've had primetime games, obviously, some Sunday night games, and then we had the Monday night that was at Baltimore. But yeah, this is our first. So that Thursday night was their first primetime home game in about 4 or 5 years. Keep rolling. I mean, if we could have got that Titans win, though, man, that we really could have been in good shape. But because now we got the Jags next week and then the Bills. So we got take care of business against the Jags, and then I don't know what to expect against Buffalo because we got rolled by them last year in Buffalo. And then, Buffalo's still looking pretty good. So, let's get a quick break just to kind of get some bills paid for elite performance. And then we'll come back with Raw. Maybe we'll just do kind of Raw and SmackDown, roll down to one, catch up on some NXT, then get an AEW. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good.
All right, let's do a quick commercial break and then. As well. I'm off screen, but it's okay. I'm back. Had to get some sanitizer. You got to keep the hands clean, baby. Don't want those germs floating around. So Raw happened and SmackDown happened. Becky Lynch defeated Bianca in a really solid match to retain the Raw Women's Championship. Greg, I know we talked about it. I was kind of thinking they might pull the trigger on the title switch just because Charlotte and Bianca, I think, is your better matchup. But maybe that's saving down the road for something else. So we'll get Becky retaining. What do you think about the match, Craig? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, really good match. I like the match. I like the fact that it was Becky, still cheating to win, playing into her heel role instead of just beating Bianca clean, and it keeps the train moving forward and gives Bianca a hill to climb. So I think we'll get there, but she's going to hit those setbacks on the way up, and there's no reason for Becky to take that loss any sooner than she needs to. You got to take time to tell the story. So I get it. I thought they delivered on the match, and keep pushing the narrative.
Yeah, definitely. Some other things. So we also had, let me scroll up where I missed it. Sorry. Austin Theory defeated Rey Mysterio. We're still kind of getting the Austin Theory. I mean, I'm really liking what they're doing so far with Austin Theory. A young guy, if we're all about the young people. This gimmick of him, taking pictures and getting selfies. He was even doing it on the tour, Greg. They did a short run in England. And there's a picture of him and John Morrison. John Morrison's looking like this in the ring. So he's even doing it over there, which is, kind of cool to see. It just a slow kind of step to see what like I said, that's why I think I would have loved to see him in the Survivor Series type match, because it could have gave him some run. Even if he's the first one out, maybe he does the quick selfie gimmick and gets out right away. But not a bad match with him and Rey Mysterio to kind of get there. We did have Dominique try to, slap Austin. Sorry, lost my train of thought there, and trying to cost the match. So it still makes me wonder, Greg. Are we getting the Mysterio family broken? That has to come down the road sooner rather than later, because we really need to see Dominic kind of see what he could do on his own away from, his dad and all that. So, but any thoughts on Austin Theory and Rey Mysterio there, Greg?
Yeah, I loved what they're doing with Austin. So far, it looks great. And he just comes off more cunning than he does goofy. The whole selfie thing is a very millennial thing and kind of playing to that crowd. I'm sure they get it, and it's funny, but at the same time, he's kicking butt, he's getting wins, and then he takes the selfie. So it's very fit for the time right now. So I'm enjoying it, what they're doing with him, and I agree with you that he should have a spot in the Survivor Series. So maybe somebody gets hurt, and then he finds a spot, but he should be in there.
He can take out the Mysterios. Maybe he takes out Dominic and takes a spot.
There you go.
Like I wouldn't even mind if he did it like Edge style at the Elimination Chamber when Edge took out Kofi, and Edge Edge closed the pod, and Edge I believe he ended up winning that match. So you never know with Austin Theory, but we also had Seth Rollins looking like Greg, like a 70s carpet or 70s style wallpaper. Like we said, man, if this is what he's buying, I'd love to see what he's not buying, because I bet his Amazon search history or Google, drip history is probably ridiculous. So he kind of, he kind of put those little break down the line of Kevin Owens and Big E, which we would see happen later on. So not much to talk about there, just because Seth out there with his little file folder with the contract that he can use whenever he wants. And so how about Queen Zelina and Carmella defeating the tag team champions? Does that mean, Greg, we're going to see them get the tag team titles sooner rather than later?
Probably. They're going to be spending a lot of time on screen with Zelina doing the Queen thing.
So I think she needs something.
Right. And is Carmella going to become the Kofi to Zelina's Woods kind of,
Yeah.
the second, what do you call it, the hand of the queen, I guess.
Yeah.
And
A
you know,
right-hand woman.
right. So I can see it, and then them just, filling the screen with how full of themselves they are, and everybody hating them, and them using that, which it could be really good if they do it right. So, um, yeah, and considering how stagnant the tag team division has been in the women's side,
It's probably
um,
not going to hurt things.
no.
So, what else we got? So we also had Finn Balor defeat Chad Gable. We had Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode defeat the Street Profits, but of course, almost came out. So it looks like we got to get AJ Styles back, healthy, whatever. Maybe just a small injury time for him, or resting time for him. But I think AJ and Almost versus the Street Profits, Greg, that's a match that I think we need to see, and that builds up the Street Profits if they can defeat them, because Almost keeps interrupting their matches, so that's kind of the way we're going. Would you be on board with AJ and Almost versus the Street Profits and letting the Street Profits overcome that?
Absolutely. And I see that that's what they're doing with the Street Profits, getting beat up by Almost all the time. This is their hill to climb. And, AJ and Almost are ahead of them, just based on AJ's overall talent and
Yeah.
Almost the size in conjunction with it. Street Profits are still up and coming, and still waiting to take that next step up. And you're not going to
That'd
get
be
it
a
off the
good
bat. You're
run.
going to have to work to it. Yeah, and it's going to be a huge run to get to when they finally beat them. So it's working towards that. So I don't like seeing the Street Profits take so many L's, but as long as it's going somewhere, I can sign off on it.
And you feel like that's where, and it's probably good that Almost is getting some time, not necessarily in the ring, but he's getting time to shine kind of on his own, because like we said, how's he going to look when he does have AJ? AJ's his mouthpiece. Big time. And
Yeah,
AJ can do everything, kind of get him to where he needs to be. But eventually you would think that has to stop. And we got to see what Almost can do on his own. So Damian Priest defeated T-Bar in a no DQ match. Lots of kendo stick shots, and Damian Priest looked ripped to shreds there in some parts of his body. That one kendo shot, the stick just completely disintegrated. So that was a really strong, really good match for T-Bar to kind of look like what he should be. And then Commander Aziz and Apollo Crews step up to say they're in line next for the U.S. title, which is fine. I think that's good to have, because you have Apollo Crews, a former IC champion. He fits in that U.S. title picture. Because IC title and U.S. title probably neck and neck right now, where they are in relevancy. So, yeah, I was okay with Apollo Crews kind of showing back up and, stepping up to Damian. Oh, not, calling out Damian Priest. So, what about the match, though, Greg? And then if you want to tackle Apollo Crews next in line for the U.S. title.
yeah, good match. I enjoyed it. Really gave T-Bar some shining moments, and this is what I kind of expected out of him to begin with. Now, if they can go ahead and change this character, get rid of the whole T-Bar name, and take off the stupid face paint, then we got something. So hopefully it's a turning point for him, and he'll realize that, and it's still not too late to do the repackage.
It isn't, but
Take this book. I know, but it seems, is he ever? And that's what's going to be what kills him. He's still ducking these cut lists, but it's not going to happen much longer if he doesn't switch up the gimmick. And so, nobody's going to be buying T-Bar T-shirts. So you need to do something. You need to fix it. And this is a good step in the right direction, but you need to elaborate on it. You need to make it bigger and give us something that we can buy into. Nobody buys into T-Bar. So It's good first step in the right direction. But it's on him to push it with the brass or whoever needs to do to get that character switch up and popping. So I hope he does it because he's a really talented guy. You can tell in that match that when he gets time to
in the ring, yes.
perform like he's capable of, he can do some things. And then Apollo coming out is the next man up. It's a great matchup. I like the idea. As soon as I saw him come out, Priest is showing this new dangerous side of his character, and let's see what he can do with Apollo. And then Aziz standing at ringside, who's much bigger than he is. So, you want to get this whole new, evil Damien kind of thing across. Who better than with Apollo and his giant standing around. So I'm curious to see how it's going to work, and I hope it does work because it's got some legs, and it's on him to make that work. So got my fingers crossed for it because it's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, definitely. And then finally, Big E defeated Kevin Owens. Of course, Seth Rollins came out there, doing his distraction work and laying out, Big E. But Big E's able to overcome. Then they show the replay. Kevin Owens tries apologizing. Big E delivers the big ending anyway. Kevin Owens also challenged Seth Rollins to the match next week. So, kind of we got the title scene all right there. I don't mind Kevin Owens. I don't like that Kevin Owens is probably going to be the loser in all of this, but it's good to see him in the main event picture because, like we said, Greg, I don't know how much longer we're going to see Kevin Owens on WWE TV. So I'm going to take advantage of it. Some people ran as well with Big E stating earlier that I don't care if you're on the Mount Rushmore, which is interesting because Kevin Owens was part of Mount Rushmore with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. So interesting little just, Easter egg there. And, Big E, and we had the Golden Girls said by Xavier Woods and Big E calling that out. So always fun to hear those little Easter eggs, but really good match. Like I said, I like that Kevin Owens is being used in this capacity, even though he's probably going to come out on the losing end of all of it and, probably get relegated back down. And I think he's done what he can at WWE, and he's probably ready to do something else and say, but this is his dream as well. So it's one of those weird things, do you just keep doing it and, making the money and, doing what you can? Because he's kind of done the wrestling thing. I feel like he's felt like he's done all that he can outside the WWE realm and will just be there to kind of help them. But Kevin Owens' contract situation is the one, Greg, to really watch. I believe late this year, not late anymore because it's December. So, early next year and all that. So what about the match, Greg, with Big E and Kevin Owens?
Yeah, love the match. And definitely love the Mount Rushmore name drop. I'm surprised that even got across on WWE TV. So love that. I popped for that as soon as I heard it. And the match was great. I love how the match went. And then the ending had a couple, plot holes in it. But I like how it ended in the sense that when you have a babyface champion, that the babyface champion ends up being a sucker for everything. And Big E's not having it. So when, Seth, gets his cheap shot in and KO, whether he took a moment to think about it or not, goes in for the pin and he calls him out on it, then, what happens next is on you because, whether you're complicit in it or not, you're still trying to take my belt and then excuse it away. So I loved it that he didn't take the nonsense and dropped KO and established himself in roll-ups. I might be the babyface, but I'm not no punk. And, you're not going to play me like that. So He's not taking any crap from anybody, whether you're a heel or a face, and he's going to drop everybody and ask questions later. So it's kind of what I got from that whole segment. So I loved how it ended. There was some, like I said, plot holes, things that, okay, KO wouldn't really do that, but for the sake of the storyline, I'm going to pretend I didn't see or hear it. So it's still could have been done better, but I'll give him a passing grade for the end of it, because up to the last minute of the show, it was a fantastic performance.
I have to be full disclosure, Greg. I did not get to catch NXT this week because I was busy with a lot of other life stuff. So if you are okay, we'll skip over that for this week, and I will do my diligence and get back on it next week. So I apologize in advance for being a horrible podcast host and, not doing my homework on that. So yeah, unless you can have at it and give me any thoughts you had on NXT this week, and I'll just smile and nod and say I agree.
I'll just give you a general thoughts, because on the whole, I'm really on the fence with NXT. I mean, this is the least fun I've had watching NXT since I started watching it. I mean, everything is just so cookie cutter and basic that it's killing me. Cora Jade, you're a female skateboarder. Duke Hudson, you're a poker player. Gray Wall, you're a boxer. And just handing out these really basic archetypes, and this is what you perform. You're a guidance counselor. Carmelo and Trick, you guys are going to be gangsters and thugs. Tony D'Angelo, you're the New York mob boss. And they're just playing these characters as if they opened a board game and took out a bunch of professions, or kind of like cops and robbers. This is your profession, you play this. This is a criminal part. You're the mob boss, you take this one. And it has a feel of a high school play almost. I mean, you can put all the splashy colors on it that you want, but it's still feeling really basic and uninspired. And I know you guys are a couple that are going to come out of the mix, looking great, like Ron Breaker. But all these, cartoons of characters, aren't doing anything for me. Watching NXT, it doesn't look like it's doing much to pop the fans. They have their couple that they like, but overall, it's still really, really weak, especially put in comparison to what the Black and Gold brand was delivering, where everybody who came out was a star, and they were a star in their own right. They weren't playing, these basic characters like Bailey. When she came out, she was a star, and you knew why. She didn't look like the others. She had her own character. She had her own flair, and everybody was down with it. When Enzo and Cass came out, they weren't playing these characters. You couldn't put them in a box. But when they came out, they were special, and you knew about it. They did their, he's 7 foot tall. You can't teach that, and it was great. And we bought onto it, and we loved it. Put in Finn Balor, put in Asuka, the whole, the whole Black and Gold brand up to, when they decided to switch it over, you can tell there's a huge, huge difference, and it's horrible. It's been horrible. Props to Ciampa for trying to, keep the boat afloat, Gargano, and all the old heads that are still in there. And there's not many of them left. and we know why, we get why, but NXT is dying a slow death, and I don't see it getting any better. Even with Tommaso Champ at the top, fending off the new guys, it's still almost depressing to watch now. At least for me, I don't know about you, but for me, it's getting harder and harder to watch, and I'm trying
Where
to.
Samoa Joe is. Like Samoa
Yeah,
Joe
I don't know if is he gone? Has he been released?
we haven't heard
I'm surprised
anything
we
on
haven't
his
seen
end
it.
other than he dropped the title and then I guess it was medical related, but I thought he was all good to go. That's why he came back. So yeah, I feel bad for him, and I'm sure because he's a viable source probably behind the scenes, but I'm sure he's got miles left on his body as well. So Samoa Joe's somebody I'd like. Would that give some fire back? Or somebody brought up, what about William Regal? Because we don't have any more figurehead, and William Regal
Right.
always was kind of nice to, give us reason why these guys are, why is this match happening? Even if he wasn't always, announcing matches, he could go to his office and then, set up why things were happening there. So, yeah, I just kind of missed it this week, Greg. And I mean, like you said, is it one of those things I just missed it because I wasn't even thinking about it? And then I just never got a chance to catch up because it's kind of like out of mind, out of sight, or, like once it moves on, it moves on. So, and I was even looking at the results and I'm like, it seemed like they had a lot of just random squash matches. You had Robert Stone get defeated, I saw, which I'm
Yep.
surprised he wasn't a name, Greg, on the list of cuts, Robert Stone, because I think you've already got rid of you've pretty much got rid of all of his groups. So,
Yeah.
what is there left for him to do there? But, yeah, so, that was our NXT report. We'll get into SmackDown talk. The big thing there, we're still running the Naomi, Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville stuff where Shayna Baszler defeats Naomi because Naomi used the ropes when she shouldn't have, and Sonya Deville, being the good GM good figurehead she is, Greg, had to come out and call that out because that's we've never call out stuff when it's illegal. But anyway, so Shayna Baszler just makes her tap out because if Naomi would have beat Sonya or beat Shayna Baszler this time, Sonya would entertain a match. So we're still running that storyline. We'll kind of see if it's still going. How about the new tag team name of Los Lotharios, Greg, defeating Cesaro and Mansoor? Cesaro is now relegated to, hey, there's a guy that needs a tag team partner, or hey, we need you, Cesaro. So what a run for Cesaro. And we poured out the 40s, which is now turned into the Mississippi River,
Yeah.
which is now flowing into the Gulf of Mexico, Greg. I mean, it might as well be into the Atlantic Ocean pretty soon. And it wouldn't be surprising if we see Cesaro back across the sea sooner rather than later, going back to Swiss. Well, I'm guessing his life is here now, but that's another name that I'll be curious to see what happens when his contract situation, comes to a head. What does he end up doing? So, yeah. So we had Los Lotharios defeating Cesaro and Mansoor. Greg, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was what it was. Getting the Los Lotharios over, and we get it. They're Mexican playboys, and they're pretty, and they're going to be full of themselves, and checking their hair in the middle of a match, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We get it, but calling them pretty much the Lotharios is pretty basic and simple. And you can't put Los in front of it and think you're doing
Make it in Spanish.
doing them a favor. Yeah,
Like Los Bulls. That's what makes me think
Right.
of El Heat.
So
And I'm like,
yeah.
I would.
So it's a terrible name, but I like the team. And
Yeah.
they work well together. They look good, and um, they're not to the point of challenging for the belts yet. But at least you
But
have
they're
a
doing a good job.
legitimate team in the mix. Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought that NBA time, like, yes, do I love the crossover idea? Yes, Greg. But when you're like Los Bulls, I'm like, okay, come on, like, just give it Toros or L Spurs, like,
Right.
whatever. But anyways, so how about Drew McIntyre defeating Ricochet? Really solid match there. Now we have Ali possibly try to get back with Ricochet. I think we already tried to go down that road before. But this time, Greg, does Ricochet bite the bullet and actually follow Ali? Because I think Ricochet needs to do that. I think Ricochet needs something to kind of get him, another edge, as it were. So, do you think Ali uses his mind tricks on Ricochet, and Ricochet has to follow in his footsteps?
Yeah. My heart hurts for Ricochet because I love that dude so much,
Prince Puma?
and absolutely. And since he came up from NXT, he's been destroyed. He had a quick 5 minutes of fame with Aleister Black when they were the champs, and they looked good upon coming out of NXT. Um, but ever since then, he's been buried. They had a couple moments where they kind of, he's like a real life Spider-Man, and they were doing that kind of gimmick with him. But he's just been a member of the Job Squad, and I want better for him. Um, so coming out and challenging Drew, and I liked it. Was there any doubt that he was going to lose? No, but he's capable of so much more if they just give him some run. Even hearing him, do his little talk on the way to the ring to challenge Drew. Guys good on the mic. Give him some airtime, and hopefully this thing with not Mansoor but Ali,
Ali.
turns into a good rivalry. And they tried to do the same thing on Raw, and it crashed and burned, and now they're trying to do it on SmackDown. And at least in the backstage promo or the backstage segment, Ricochet recognized it and is like, no, I'm not joining you because basically you're a jerk. And so he's, not going to be fooled again, hopefully, is what he's saying. And then, if this leads to a good rivalry with Ali trying to do his little mind tricks, we get some great matches out of it. That's what I'm signed up for. I can see them doing a stipulation type of thing where if Ricochet loses, then he has to join on with Ali or something like that.
I'm fine with that, yeah.
Yeah, so if you do an angle like that, I'll watch it and kind of keep my fingers crossed that the hero comes out in the end, because I want better for Ricochet. And you think with him being drafted that they have something in mind for him. So that's the only reason I'm holding out some optimism for him.
Also, we saw the Viking Raiders defeat Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss via countout. This was, of course, after Happy Talk and all that. So, but let's get into it. The last match, Greg, King Woods defeated Jimmy Uso. I really love the backstage segment when Roman was just sitting there saying, how many more of your problems do I have to clean up? And we all kind of assumed Roman was going to come out there at the end of the match. He does come out there, takes out, Woods. And with Kofi watching, we've gone that route before. So, and taking out Kofi with the, what was it, the leg, they went to the back of the leg a few times. So, like we said, what's going to be the evening up? I mean, it probably has to be Big E. for New Day because there's nobody else. But so Greg, good match between King Woods and Jimmy Uso. Then the aftermath was pretty darn good too. Just kind of playing all that up as as it was. So what do you think about the end of SmackDown there? And then we'll get into some AEW talk.
It was a good ending. It's what we expected, in both that Woods won, and then Roman ruins the bending of the knee, as we expected. Comes out of the crowd and blindsides Woods, and makes him watch as they destroy Kofi, and which I think is the same thing that happened when Kofi was champ, and they and Woods was taken out, I believe. So kind of reversing the roles. But yeah, it definitely, asked the question, how are they going to put E into the mix? And if not E, who? And all I'm thinking is, Survivor Series, that they got to find a way to put the New Day against the Bloodline.
Yeah, that's what I'm
thinking.
It's
gonna have to do. They gotta have to do champ versus champ. But how can they fit it in so that the Usos and the New Day are included? Which,
I mean, do you give
maybe it's
the New Day tag team titles before then?
you could, and then just unify them.
Oh wait, no, because they're on the. Never mind, they're on the same brand. Duh.
Oh yeah, true.
Never mind. I mean, at this rate, I don't know how they kind of. I don't know how they'll do it, but I guess that's why we'll have to wait and see. Because, like you said, I feel like they got to do that somehow, because it's all leading to that. And
right,
if Survivor Series is about Raw, like we've already got the Raw versus SmackDown stuff anyway. Maybe we just have this as a side piece, side dish, as it were. If we have our turkey, here's my Thanksgiving. I'm just going off the top of my head, Greg. Here's our turkey, even though it might not be the best turkey, but we got to have the rolls and the yams and the whatever people eat, corn. You got to have your side pieces. So, I need that. Have you ever seen the woman where she's like grains and potatoes, mashed potatoes? She's like doing a gospel of all the sides that people have at Thanksgiving. It's so fun. But anyways, so yes, New Day, Bloodline needs to be at Survivor Series. Whatever way you could do it. I mean,
right.
Maybe it just happens then at the event. Because we're probably going to book Survivor Series the day of anyway, Craig. So why not just have it happen at the event? So
they can always switch up the rules. It's WWE; they can do what they want.
Yeah, you can write in.
Maybe Roman can demand it, or E can demand
maybe he
it.
Could pick partners, and to go against the Bloodline or something like that. So, yeah. All right. Well, let's do one more. We'll do another commercial break for Sean Nugent, and then we'll get to our AEW talk and wrap up shop after that. So, because we just had so much news. We're just running through the shows right now. So, a little realty talk real quick for Sean Nugent, and then we'll get AEW talk.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSPORTS1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering, if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSPORTS1.com sent you.
Alrighty, so finally some AEW talk. Dynamite-wise, we had Kenny Omega defeat Alan Angels. A really, kind of short match, but this is harkening back to 18 months ago when Alan Angels was kicking out of V-triggers and the internet was going crazy that he shouldn't be doing that. Whatever. Anyway, so it did look like Alan Angels might get the upset, but it did not come to be. And we also had Hangman Page make up his make his save for Alan Angels. Also, Greg, just a side note, I will be live at AEW Dynamite this Wednesday, where they're doing a contract signing for Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. And we all love contract signing, Greg. Nothing ever goes wrong here. So I'll be interested to see how that all plays out. But anyways, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The first wrestling event back, and then I got Raw the 15th. So 2 wrestling events kind of back to back for me, Greg. Kind of a good couple weeks there. So, but what do you think about the first match? Omega defeating Allen Angels in this match.
It was a good match. I'd forgotten about the whole, match that was so long ago, but they really taught the guy up, Angels, and why he's such a big deal, which is what WWE should be doing. You have these lesser known talents, talk them up. They're in there with the guy is the guy. So we don't need to sell him anymore. Give some shine to the other guy, especially if he's somebody you want to make as a big deal down the road. And they did a really great job with Angels. It was a good match, and he kicked out of another V trigger just for the fun of it, and ended up taking three V triggers before he took the L. But it was a solid match. There was a moment where I don't know if it was a sunset flip or some type of roll up that it looked like he was going to get the surprise win, and he got out the last second. But it had me entertained, had me watching, and it got me invested. So good match, but it's kind of what you expected at the end with Kenny winning.
Yep. So, yeah. What else? We also had, CM Punk addressing Eddie Kingston, which will bleed over to Friday night Rampage, Greg. Really, wow. That's all I saw people talking about from Rampage was the Eddie Kingston CM Punk segment. I mean, that felt about as real as you could get in a long time. And, just addressing everything in the elephants in the room. And how about that little headbutt by Punk? We don't usually see the old punch, but the headbutt is just, when the headbutt's done right, it's like Drew McIntyre. Like his headbutt just looks efficient. So, and, some people, Greg, are arguing for Kingston to go over. And, we'll give predictions, next week, because Full Gear's next week. You could go either way on this match. I mean, I almost feel like we shouldn't get a winner because both guys, Punk needs to just keep his momentum going. But I'm having a hard time remembering when Kingston's won anything, Greg. So it's that weird, does Kingston need it? But he probably needs a little bit more. So, but that promo was vicious between the two. And, like we said, a lot of real talk, between the two in it. So we're looking forward to, here, this just happened in the past couple weeks too, Greg. That's what's crazy. It's like 2 weeks of build or, 3 weeks of build. And I'm already anticipating this match, really high up on the list of things. So what do you think about the stuff? I know it kind of bled over Rampage, but what do you think about the stuff with Eddie Kingston and CM Punk? Sorry, I'll put my phone away now. There we go. Brain freeze.
Oh man, this was awesome. I mean, if a promo ever deserved a "This is awesome" chant, that's the one. Because, like you said, it felt so real. It's one of those where they're speaking in character, but some of the real life or backstage stuff is coming out in the forefront, and they're just speaking it. And not all that. I know it's not. They don't write promos for them anyway, but that just felt real to the nth degree. I mean, if you were to see two guys beefing with each other on the street, that's what it would sound like. They knew each other, they worked together, but they really don't like each other. They have faced off with each other. That's the kind of thing you'd hear. And that was, what it drew you in. And, it made you feel like this is like the most real thing I've seen in such a long time. And it was gold. It was my favorite part of the whole show. And you could feel the heat coming through the screen, the animosity between these two. So yeah, you definitely want to see what the match is going to look like, how it's going to go down. Um, I agree with you. I think Kingston needs to go over on this one because Punk's a made guy. He can take 10 L's and he'll be fine. But Kingston, for this first match, I think it would be better that he goes over and that way he can rub Punk's face in it and you know
You
Punk
maybe could do a
realizes,
trilogy, like a
yeah,
threesome. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And you know Kingston, he's the street fighter. He's not afraid to play dirty, and he prefers it dirty. So
Hmm.
he cheats to win. Gouges the eyes, pulls the trunks, does whatever he has to do, and scores a cheap win, but he scores a win. So I can definitely see something like that happening. I can definitely see Punk winning, um, and maybe see Kingston's not going to be that guy to give him his first L, but it makes the story intriguing because they can go either way on it. But man, that promo, I thought after seeing the Hangman, cowboy stuff
Yeah.
promo
Yeah.
was was 5 stars. This was 7 stars. This was even
Hmm.
better than that. So props to them on this is what happens when you let the wrestlers take business into their own hands and do their own work. It comes out more real, comes out more authentic, and instead of just sitting with a script with bullet points that they have to talk about everything up and I'll see you on December 13th at 5 o'clock
Hmm.
in New York.
Yeah.
That's what you get when you let the guys take control of their craft. Just amazing.
And of course, they got the real history behind it. That probably
Yeah,
makes it easier. Like people always say, they love wrestling their best friends, like the best. Like Shawn Michaels always said, he loved Triple H wrestling him because he knew like where he could push the buttons, and you could go for the the jugular, as it were. So,
yeah.
and of course, Kingston's a guy that never went. Until now, he's in the mainstream, but Punk made his way to WWE and made it big, there. Well, Kingston never got that rub. He never and never who knows, he probably never wanted to. Um, but yeah. So
Yeah,
how
that's the
about the
thing too, is that
sorry.
you saw him uh, when we first saw him. He came out, he's one of the guys who was challenging Moxley, during the empty arena era. And first time I saw him, it's like, okay, he's going to be another one-off guy. He's going to have one match, he's going to get beat, he's going to disappear. But this guy came in, and as soon as he comes out, that first promo he delivers, you can tell you had something different with this guy than everybody else in the locker room. The way he talks, the way he moves, the way he wrestles, it was different and it was real. And you can tell that coming from him. That's why he's got such a huge fan base now because, he's unlike anybody else on the roster. And that's refreshing. It makes us want to support him even more.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's hard to believe. Yeah, that was the Cody Rhodes Open Challenge. Remember, that was Cody Rhodes's TNT Open Challenge when
That's what it
Kingston
is.
first
Mhm.
showed up. Because then he went to wrestle. Then Moxley was the next kind of feud because they had so much history. But yeah, it was that
Mhm.
first, and even I did. I had no idea who he was. Now people on Twitter were going crazy because a lot of people keep in touch with that. But I was like, oh, okay, this guy. And even I thought, oh, it's one off, because like we said, sometimes guys came in and out. But yeah, I mean he's definitely earned his keep, as they say, on the roster. So
Yeah.
we also saw the AAA Tag Team Championship. So we saw Samurai De Sol and Aerostar. So Samurai De Sol was Kalisto, formerly in WWE, make his AEW debut. And it's just kind of funny to think that this is FTR doing these whole, Lucha Libre matches when there are no flips, just fist type guys. So not a bad match, nothing really outstanding. They had the interference that kept them the win. And, I'm going to imagine now I am looking forward to the Lucha Bros versus FTR. I believe that would be for the AEW Tag Team Championship, correct?
Right.
So that's going to, Full Gear. You wonder if he'll just do well. I do wonder who will take off those titles. Do Lucha Bros eventually get the AAA Tag Team titles back? Does this team of Aerostar and Samurai De Soul get it? But you imagine FTR would probably lose it sooner rather than later. And I gotta say, I love the Living Legend T-shirt of FTR now. It has like that 70s flair disco looking era to it, almost like an old school shirt. So that was kind of cool to see. But Greg, any thoughts on FTR's current AAA tag team run, as it were?
Yeah, I get why they're doing it, and it makes sense that they're picking fun at the lucha libre culture, saying they're the best luchadors ever, and wrestling luchadors. And take notes, WWE, when you are going to use, the Mexican heritage in a name. Samurai del Sol is a good example of the way to, give them a name that has some, have some respect on it.
Yeah.
Love that name, especially for Kalisto. I didn't know that was Kalisto. And shout out to Tubi. Go watch Lucha Underground because you will see Aerostar matches there. So I popped when I saw Aerostar come up, because if you watch Lucha Underground, you see Aerostar as the boss, and he can fly with the best of them. This was a really good match, and I can see, they weren't going to beat FTR, but they gave him some trouble, and it's going to push the story further in the build up to Full Gear and the match with the Lucha Bros, and I think it's going to end up with Lucha Bros winning. But as far as the AAA belts, either taking those back, or maybe having a condition where it's title versus title, when kind of winner take all, would be a better thing, because I didn't like it that they just lost their AAA belts and now they're offering up their
AEW
belts without provocation. So we'll put our belts on the line against yours, is how it should have been. But either way we get it, I'll still take this match because it's going to be a banger.
All right, Greg. Do we have to talk about America's Top Team anymore? I'm just so over them. It's like we said, it's not even the good heat. It's the literally like I'm ready to do something. Like I want to fast forward, and I can't do that on live TV. But anyway, so all the predictions came true, Greg. I think you did say Dos Santos and Arlovsky. Is that how you say Arlovsky, right?
Arlovsky, yeah.
And of course, Men of the Year. And of course, I kept saying, "Oh, just put Paige in there." And she wanted to go in there, Greg. And I was like, "Go, just do it." But of course, we knew Jericho would pick Mr.
Lambert,
who is probably going to pick up the win. And we'll probably have to still see more of this whole. I mean, I hope they just end it there. I mean, isn't that what you want to, Greg? I mean, I don't even know where to go with this, but like if Lambert wins, we still have to keep seeing it, right? Like if he pins Jericho, we still got to keep seeing something of this. So yeah, right. I think we just need to end it at Full Gear, and Men of the Year can keep being Men of the Year, and America's Top Team can go back and do UFC stuff. Because I just don't know what is the big picture for this? Is it trying to get UFC eyeballs on it? UFC fans, because I feel like you probably got some crossover already. And I feel like they're not promoting any UFC events. They're not saying, or maybe I missed it. They're not saying, oh, so and so has an event. You should go check. It's like, what is the? I don't get what the end game here is. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is where it ends. That Full Gear is where we blow off this whole rivalry. Um, ATT has been getting the upper hand on almost every show for probably a couple months now, and I think it serves two purposes. One, getting the inner circle back together, and two, just getting the men of the year and they go against, some top guys. Because, Darby and Sting is a start, but, you need somewhere to go, farther up the ladder. And the inner circle is farther up the ladder. So this gets them into a more higher profile rivalry. And with this whole 5-on-5 thing, is putting the inner circle bit together, but it's not doing anything as far as any crossover with the UFC because Dan Arlovsky
Dan
Andre
Lambert.
Arlovsky, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Andre Arlovsky hasn't been a UFC wrestler for a while. Junior Dos Santos has not been a UFC wrestler for a while. Junior Dos Santos is about to have his first match as a boxer. He's about to go into boxing. So he's not trying to, make it as a wrestler or transition into the wrestling world. Neither is Arlovsky. So I think this was an angle just to get the men of the year some more shine. It was a very obtuse way to do it. But
do they have any more shine though?
Well,
I mean, honestly, like if you look at it, like it hasn't. I don't think it's elevated their stock at all. If anything, I hate saying it, Greg, like it's downgraded them.
Well, it's trying to put them into.
I guess it depends on where we go next. I'll give you that. How about that? I'll add that little asterisk. It's always the
right.
Where do you go? But right now, if you said Men of the Year, I'd be like,
right.
And I get they need it, but they also needed backup to go get the inner circle in a way.
Yeah.
So it's like,
right, because they can't challenge the inner circle by themselves. So you need those guys. And
but then again, you don't have three other guys. I guess you don't have three AW wrestlers you could have put them with. Even if it's maybe like a pinnacle payoff, like Andrade's doing. He's paying off FTR. Like do something. I don't know. That's on like. I just feel like it hasn't. And of course, they got to let it ride out now because you're this far into it. And I guess they love that the heel heat that Dan Lambert has. I said, it's heat, but to me, it's more I want to, I'm like on my phone or I want to do something else. And is that good heat though?
No, it's not. I love Dan Lambert playing the old role of the old territory heel manager. Mm-hmm. It kind of reminded me of those handful of matches with the Four Horsemen where J.J. Dillon was picked as the fifth person to be in the ring because J.J. was always the guy you wanted to punch because he's always interfering and but nobody could touch it because he's got the Horsemen around him. So you have those handful of matches where he was actually in the ring. I believe there may have been a War Games where he was in the match. So it's kind of one of those kind of payoffs with Lambert, having him involved in the match. And I think it's going to end with him running into a Judas effect. And, that's going to be the end of the story. And that'll be the last we see of, America's top team. So
unless we do and I'm starting to think now, Greg, we might just do the one-on-one with Lambert and Jericho. Like maybe they do a next, that's the final payoff. I also think it feels like, maybe it's just me, Jericho's trying really hard to get some of these jokes over and they're just not landing. You know what?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like back in this, I feel like he's trying to go back to the Stephanie McMahon
Yeah.
in these days, I don't think those fly as well. You know what with the, I hate bringing real life stuff into it, Greg, but I don't think we have that view. I mean, we should have never had those view of women anyway, let's face it. But back in early 2000s, it was a whole nother ball game. You could get, it could be kind of punny and call her, hoe bag and whatever he'd say. And, oh, you had this many people, you're 25. That's how many people you had last week. Like those jokes don't fly as well now, I think, Greg, as they did back then. And that's probably why it's like, it feels like he's just trying too hard with them. And like the crowd is even reacting to them. Because I think they are thinking, well, this is Jericho of, because we always expect Jericho to evolve. And he has, obviously, but now he's almost revisiting that, like, oh, I'm just going to dig on the woman gimmick and, see if that could work. And I don't think it's landing as well.
Yeah, that's it.
But
so you can't call it Dan Lambert a skanky, brutal, disgusting, bottom-feeding trash bag hole.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean,
we
expect
that.
people to be like, oh, like, yeah, that just.
Yeah, I mean, if he used those words, I think it may have gotten over better than calling him, fat face,
whatever he said.
The other lame word that he's using. That. Yeah, it falls flat. It's pretty lame. But so yeah, I think this is where it ends, just because now the inner circle is back together as a 5-piece, and you're giving men of the year a run against some bigger guys, stature wise, and you're giving Dan Lambert, or you created a new character with Dan Lambert you can maybe use later. And this time, when a pro wrestler comes out that has, some martial arts expertise, you can always bill him as being a member of American Top Team, and boom, he's instantly entered because of the familiarity that you have with Dan Lambert. But this would be the perfect time to have him run into an elbow and be off TV for the indiscriminate amount of time.
Or forever.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, one more note, I might still pull out does Jake Hager maybe turn on Inner Circle? Because has Inner Circle as a whole, it's like the Shield. They reunited what they did, and then they were done for good. So, because you got Sammy Guevara as the champion of TNT champion. You probably, I keep saying, Proud and Powerful probably need to be your next tag team champions. And then you could have Jericho still do his own thing. So maybe Hager could be that, new piece with Men of the Year and kind of run with them and give that something different. But if they end it, they end it. I won't be mad, Greg, but part of me thinks it doesn't end here. I just feel like their end game is Jericho and Lambert one-on-one, like on a Dynamite, and kind of give some big, and then he has to leave or whatever. So as much as I don't want to see that, but Jamie Hayter moved on into the TBS championship, Greg. Just a good win for her to pick over, Anna Jay. Darby Allin and MJF kind of went at it. I like, Greg, with that they're pushing the wrestling aspect of this, because then that still leaves a, no DQ, coffin match, something down the road. But any thoughts on MJF and Darby Allin there, Greg, for you?
Loving the promos that are going on between these two. MJF is his usual, Magic Mike on the mic. I love hearing him, his promos. He's just so full of himself, but the promos are so good. You can't not, listen to him and hear who he's, cutting on this week. So the guy's doing awesome work, and, it's going to be a showdown when these two are in the ring. So, um, can't hate on it. It's going to be great when it does happen, and they're doing a great job of promoting it.
Yep. And then finally, Cody Rhodes, Andrade, and Idolo. This is Malachi Black was barred from ringside, but FTR was under the ring the whole time, Greg. I always laugh when people are under ring because, man, it had to suck just to kind of be stuck there, until your moment. I still think back to Sting being the statue for Seth Rollins, and he just started having the face paint melting because he was just sweating under that curtain that they had forever. But anyway, so FTR gets paid off by Andrade to kind of be the hitman, as it were, and Andrade picks up the win. A good win, because like we said with Andrade, Greg, he's gotten he's gotten a win here, but now this feels like something that can move him up to the next step, and it still keeps it open because FTR was involved with this. So good match to kind of end Dynamite, and then we'll get into the couple matches from Rampage and wrap up shop.
Sounds good. I like the way this ended, and again, just huge difference between what we're seeing on AEW compared to WWE. I just got to give AEW a shout out for everything they're doing. They're getting a huge pass from me as it is. When you look at it from the fact that they're 2 years old, and for probably about 18 months of their 2 years in existence, they haven't even been able to perform in front of crowds. So they've gotten a huge pass from me just due to the fact that these guys and girls are so new to the game, building up a brand, and doing such an amazing job of it. Collectively, it's the best thing I've seen since the old NWA, and they're definitely on the way up. I think a year from now they're going to top WWE in all the demos, and we're going to have another Monday Night War situation going on with WWE eventually losing the battle. So just when if any of the AEWs are watching, you should be, tell your friends. But props to all of them for everything they're doing, and give us something. Some it's not the same menu, but it's a better dish, to eat on a weekly basis. So, props to all of them.
Yeah. And some stuff on Rampage. So we had Anthony Bowens lose to Daniel Bryan. He hits the label lock. We had what's the other guy in the Acclaim that got suspended for the short time? He brought up John Laurinaitis. Yeah, he brought up John Laurinaitis' name. Because what did he say? I'm going to drop you quicker than your father-in-law drops careers or something like that. So we had that little play. And even Bryan Danielson in the corner, he couldn't help but just laugh at it because, I don't think he cares anyway. So, and then the other match I think to talk about, of course, was Red Velvet moving on, Greg, against the Bunny. That's probably an upset, right? I mean, I think we all thought the Bunny should be moving on, and Red Velvet picks up a win, and I don't think she's, like we've said, I think this is probably Jade's title to lose in a way, or our Thunder Rosa, one of the higher ups, but Red Velvet picks up a win and moves on in the match. But you can have both matches, Greg, and then we'll kind of finish up the weekend there.
Yeah, good match between Danielson and Bowens. Again, letting the new guy, have some limelight before, he takes the loss. Being in there, Danielson is only going to do him good. Yeah. And this was a very good match, so I was impressed with it. And both of the Acclaim, they're doing their job as being the dirty heels and, playing the characters to the teeth. They believe in what they're doing, and you can tell. So great job by them. And I think if I look at the bracket a little closer, you could have seen that putting Black Velvet into another matchup with Jade made sense. Jade is Red Velvet's hill to climb. She's already taken a couple losses to Jade,
Yeah.
and you can tell she's one of the girls that they want to elevate. But there's going to be those bumps in the road. She's going to have to, right, and she's going to be one of those that she's going to, keep losing to her until she doesn't, and then that's when you're going to know she's arrived. So, yes. I think that's what we're doing with this, is that we're laying the groundwork of, this is the girl that she can't beat. She gets wins after win, stacks wins, and then she runs into Jade and she loses. And stacks wins and runs into Jade and she loses. So it's good long-term storytelling, and I think down the road a bit, we're going to have another rematch and she'll overcome it. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that is the weekend. Yeah. I'm going to take it easy today because I had my big old party last night. Really good little birthday event for myself, because tomorrow is my big 4-0, Greg. Yeah, I know, right?
Hey,
I don't feel it yet. People joke, they're like, you're going to wake up tomorrow and your back's going to kill you or something like that. But I made a hoodie for myself, Greg, that says thumbs up for 40 with a big old fat picture of myself on there giving a thumbs up. So I can't wait to rock that out tomorrow at school. And that's the thing too. People are like, oh, you're going to take your birthday off? I was like, hell no, I'm not taking my birthday off. I want every single person to wish me happy birthday. What are you talking about? So anyways.
That's right.
So it's kind of fun, but just got the birthday. And then even though I got my party last night, just do the old family dinner tomorrow night and settle in for Raw. And then, like I said, got AEW here in town. Trying to see who might do the little meet and greet beforehand, Greg, and see if I'm in. Last time I met Hangman Page, so that was really awesome. I can't remember what I told him, but it was kind of funny what I told him, But anyways, it's always weird when you meet somebody because you always have 2 or 3 things in your head that you want to say, and then you sometimes get up there and you're like, "Hey, like thanks for coming," But anyways, so. I don't know if you get that way too. I get that way though. With you should be starstruck because these guys are like us. These people are like us, but at the same time, they're at a higher level than us.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like when people. It's when kids see me and outside of school, they're like, they just look at me like they have no idea who I am. So
right.
That's because I'm a rock star. So anyway.
Well, when we're kids, we think the teachers live in the school. So. When we see them outside the school.
Do you know how many times I've been asked that, Greg? I'm like, yes, I live here. I just get a little sleeping bag. So, but last night was really fun. So my friends all have kids under like the age of 12. And so they all sat up front, Greg, for my band to play. And man, it was really fun to see them reacting to me play because I bring that rock star essence to myself. I really get into it. So I think they were kind of like, wow, he's kind of different. So everyone had earplugs because it was loud. And there was another event happening in the gym. So we joked, like, who's going to drown out each other? But it was a lot more livelier event, I will say, in the gym, Greg, if you catch my drift. And the Catholic churches know how to lay their beers down, as it were. So there was a couple people. We had to put up signs saying, private party, private event, because we just had people looking in like this, the whole drunken stupor. And I'm like, you can come in, but I don't want your drunk ass in here. But anyways, so that was kind of funny to see. So anyways, happy birthday to me tomorrow. Yay.
Hey, happy birthday, big 4-0.
And I can't wait till Full Gear next week. Yes, the big 4-0. I'm not caught up to you, though, Greg.
Oh, you got a while to catch up to me, buddy. I'm a touchdown ahead of you, and I will
You're
always
a touchdown
be
ahead of me. I'm not going for the 2-point conversion yet. So, anyway, so yeah, thank you for the birthday wishes, and it was a really good night last night, and yeah, I'm glad to have my new ink, and I will go get Revved Up Tattoos the next time I go, as that is. So, I want to do another wrestling one, Greg, and I'm not. Like, I wish I could find a good silhouette of the super kick because I think that would be kind of cool to do, but it's hard to find one. So I might just ask, I might just send a picture and see if they could just draw up like a silhouette of it to kind of match what this one is, because I'm all about symmetry, and I think that's kind of cool to match tattoos to what they are. So, so we'll talk up Full Gear next week. That's gonna be a fun event. I kind of wish I would have. It's in St. Louis, which is a 4-hour trip. And if I would have known it was no, it's Minneapolis. Never mind. Is it Minneapolis or St. Louis?
I think it's Minneapolis.
Because
they're doing Minneapolis street fight.
I think they were going to do it in St. Louis, and then they moved it. But anyways, so never mind. I wasn't going to think about going there anyway, because Minneapolis is a 7 or 8 hour drive. So anyways, but yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching. Fingers crossed nobody gets cut this week. But and Bray Wyatt, where are you at, dude? We're waiting for you. Please come back to TV because we need you on TV. And
yeah,
I really thought he was going to. I thought he was going to show up on Dynamite and be the X cast off with Andrade and Malachi Black, because I was like, well, there's probably going to be some shenanigans here, and it was FTR obviously, but yeah. So anyways, all right. Well, thank you for watching. Enjoy your week. Go Chargers for you, Greg, and I'm going to enjoy my day of just nothing because I need I need a day of rest, as they say on the seventh day, Stephen rested. So I think that was in the Bible, but anyways, so all right. Well, have a good rest of your day and talk to you guys later.